Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast with your host, Tracy Hayes. Power couples in real estate, once again, is our theme today. Our team strives to take the guesswork out of selling or buying a property. The buying and selling process can seem to be daunting. Our goal is to make it a seamless and enjoyable experience. I stole that from your social media. I want to welcome Brad and Emily Lloyd of Team Lloyd Realty to the show today.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys coming on. I know you guys are real producers, and I see you there all the time. I said I've got to get those guys on. You guys are starting to make moves. Your team seems. You guys will update me. I went in there and looked at the roster. The videos on the background of the website. I love those videos. But then I looked at your roster, and there's like a whole nother. Twice as many people.
Grown quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So let's. I'm going to open up, and I always open up with like where you guys from. So I'm going to open up. We'll start with Brad a little bit and talk about where Brad's from and in his service with the Army and his tours. So Brad, let's start off with you. Tell us a little about where you're from and your service.
All right.
Yes.
I was born in New York. My mom moved down here when I was 4, so I grew up in Middleburg.
Where were you born in New York?
Goshen, New York.
Goshen, okay. No.
So you remember that show, Orange County Choppers? So it's in Orange County, the biker guys. Yeah. Anyway, it's Orange County. It's just like 5 minutes up the road from there.
Okay, all right. I was born in Peekskill, New York.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. So you came to Middleburg when you were 4.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's growing up you went to Middleburg High or?
Yeah. That's actually where me and Emily met. We're high school sweethearts.
Okay.
Met at Middleburg High and been trucking along ever since.
So you graduated from Middleburg High. I mean, did you go in the Army right away? Was at 18? What was your?
I did. So I graduated 99 and joined September the same year. And I wasn't even planning on staying with her at the time. We were just kind of dating, and I got out of boot camp and came home, and we hooked back up and went away to my schooling, my AIT schooling, and came home, and we hooked back up, and then I was getting stationed in Germany. And when I moved over there, we just kind of kept in touch and just hit it off.
You kept them alive.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I know that feeling. And then now you did notice, I think it was on your LinkedIn. I mean, you did a couple of tours in Kosovo.
I did.
During that, what were you doing there? And then you did a tour in Iraq as well. What were you doing there?
Yeah, so Kosovo, that was Milosevic and the genocide over there with the Albanians, and that was an interesting tour. So we were stationed over there in Germany, and I was deployed to Kosovo in 2000. So from like November 2000, I think, to March or April the following year, 2001.
So you did like 14 months or so?
No, it was 6 months. So
6
2000,
months, okay.
2001, yeah. So
Okay.
November to March or April,
Right.
something like that. And we were just on patrol over there. I mean, they were doing, so I was artillery.
Right.
I was an artillery technician. So we were doing fire missions and patrols and policing up,
Tell us, I think a lot of people underestimate this with our service members. You're what, 20 years old at this time?
Yeah, I was 20.
And you're sent out, and I mean, maybe there's a sergeant that's with you who might be a little bit older, but for the most part, most of the guys you're hanging out with are sub 25 years old.
Yeah, we were just kids.
Yeah. And how much responsibility is put upon you? Carrying a weapon, you're going out on patrols. You guys are having, if you run into something, and then maybe there's a story there between Kosovo and Iraq where, you guys you're making important decisions, life determining decisions sometimes, whether you're pulling a trigger or not, whether, you're going to, just the psychological pressure. And I think a lot of people underestimate that with our young people, is a lot of these guys that are over in Iraq, in Kosovo and in any of the wars. I mean, the average age, I think, for Vietnam was 19. In the decisions you make and the responsibility of what you have when you're especially when you're deployed overseas.
Yeah, I mean, it's heavy. There's a lot of stuff that you gotta one that you go through, just being there in that environment, going through those things, seeing those types of things. And then, the judgment calls that you may have to make when you're out on patrol. I mean, like you said, you got platoon with you, you got a platoon leader, you got an officer, an NCO. Mm-hmm. You have, that leadership that's there, but in the absence of leadership and you're stuck making a decision, I mean, there's tough spots. And that's so many young kids come home now and they have these issues. The PTSD is horrible. Mm-hmm. Homelessness and depression and anxiety in veterans. I mean, it's a serious issue that a lot of people are going through.
Right. I mean, and even someone 40 years old is still going to have that. But the fact that you're so young and you're put in that position. I watched the movie Megan Levy, which has been out years, where she's got the canine in Iraq. Have you seen that one? Mm-hmm. She was 19 years old and went off to join the Army and just so happened to be put on a detail to clean the pens out for the dogs, and decided that that's what she wanted to do. And she did a tour over in Iraq and search for IEDs. But just the amount of stress, I don't know, we can go off. That could be a whole nother podcast talking about that with many of our veterans. So I'm going to jump over here to Emily here, because the next thing is going to include both of you, and we'll go back and forth. So hold tight. You're born and raised in Middleburg?
I was.
You were. Okay. You gave charity to this gentleman over here and let him take you out on a date.
I did.
Yeah. So, how old were you guys when you actually met? I mean, were you like junior, senior, or seniors?
I was a freshman. So I was in the 9th grade. He was a senior.
Yeah. One of those
situations. Worked out well, thank goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he's off in the Army, you're still in high school.
Yes. Yeah. So when he graduated, like you said, he went off just a few months later, and I was, a sophomore at that time, mm-hmm. and so we just stayed in touch. A lot of writing back and forth, to one another. A lot of calling cards.
Yeah,
spent
a
lot
cards.
Of money in calling cards.
Fortune.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, the mail is so much. I mean, people forget. I mean, you, Brad, probably you're out there. You're in Kosovo, or you were in Iraq, and they get mail, right? That was
mail call was like
highlight.
Everything. I was like your little ray of hope. You get a package in the mail.
Someone's thinking about you. Yeah.
Yep.
And I really think it's to kind of touch on that subject in general, is what we do now in real estate. I think a lot of people obviously over time we kind of neglected and gotten lazy with the electronic mail, and that really going back to getting something in the mail that someone hand wrote you a note or something mm-hmm. is so impactful. Yeah. And I know you could cherish being away, and you think, who's thinking about me? I'm halfway around the world, and you get that, or a care package. Mm-hmm. I remember one of my friends that I graduated from college here, where I'm going to my 30th college reunion, and he was an Apache and a helicopter pilot in Afghanistan, and he said they needed windshield scrapers. We got on an email talk back and forth, and he loves Oreos and stuff. So like we just went on. A great thing about Amazon, you could just put in the address there, and of course we just sent him a huge load of Oreos and windshield scrape, because they had to scrape the ice off the Apache helicopter windshields. I don't know what it was. I couldn't get them or whatever it was, but sent them all that stuff, and he appreciated that greatly. That was almost 10 years ago now, but what were your thoughts, Emily? Go back to you. You graduate from Middleburg. He's away. What were your thoughts? Like, what were you going to do for a career?
At the time, I had always wanted to own my own business. When it was, I was 18 when we got married. So, sorry. So, I wasn't quite sure what we were going to do, because I was going to be leaving with him shortly, a few days after we got married, to Kansas, Fort Riley, which is where we were stationed. So, I had always, like I said, wanted to own my own business, but knew that wasn't going to be my final destination. So I just worked for a cell phone company at the time and put all of that on hold until we got back. So yeah, I wanted to own a clothing, like a little girl's clothing store.
Like a boutique type, yeah.
I did.
So how long were you guys, so from the time you turn 18, you graduate, you guys get married, sounds like fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how much was his overlap in his enlistment? How long were you away before you guys came back?
We were there about, 9 months? About
Okay.
9 months before he got called to go to Iraq. So, and then I moved back home
Okay.
while he was there.
All right. Yep. So when you come back to Iraq, your enlistment out and you go to Middleburg, or is that kind of?
Yeah, pretty much. So I spent 2 years in Germany, and we kept our relationship going long term. It was actually those love letters that that kind of did me in for her. I was in Kosovo, and just
it's usually the other way around.
Right.
But, what's funny about the letters is you get to just read someone's thoughts. You don't get any input. Like, it's not a conversation. You just get to you get to hear who they are. And when you're away like that and you get those letters, I mean, it hits you. It hits
Well,
the
you get to
heartstrings,
you can read it 2 and 3
Right.
times because you will.
I still have them all. I have a box of them.
Yep.
Of all the
Awesome.
letters that
That's awesome.
we ever wrote each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was in Kosovo, and I knew when I was getting back, I'd have some R&R time. I was going to take a couple weeks of leave. So I actually brought her over, and we traveled around Europe for a couple weeks.
Oh, cool.
But I knew before I brought her over, I was going to ask her to marry me.
Oh, okay.
So I had it all planned out. I actually proposed to her under the Eiffel Tower.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a lot of time in Kosovo planning things out. But yeah, so I came back stateside, I think April of 2002,
Yeah.
and we got married June. So soon as she graduated high school, we got married and moved to Fort Riley, Kansas.
So this is like what, 2002?
Yep.
Okay, so 20 years. You guys,
We just
awesome.
celebrated 20 years.
Awesome. All right, let's we'll move along here a little bit. Career wise, Emily, we'll jump back over here because you do get in insurance, and it looks like for about 12 years.
I did, yes.
Yeah. What led you into that? Just by looking for jobs and came to it, or something you just got an interest in, or?
No, so when we moved back, I just applied, for a couple of different places, and what started me on insurance was I worked in the claims department for Florida Family Insurance. And so I started off there, and then I decided I was going to go get my license. So I got my license, 2004, I think. Then I went to State Farm, and I worked there for a few years. Well, actually, probably 5 or 6 years. And then I was offered an agency for Farm Bureau Insurance. And I spent a lot of time there. Left there in 2016.
Okay.
When I went into real estate.
Okay. Now, Brad, you come back. You leave the Army. What do you? Because your LinkedIn's not up to date there. So fill me in a little bit about what are you doing from post Army until really you start looking at getting into real estate.
I was turning wrenches as a mechanic. So, funny story. Never picked up a wrench in my life. Everything I did in high school was like business related. And I knew I wanted to travel. So when I joined, they said, yeah, you can go to Germany. This is going to be your job. I said, okay. I thought I was working with like big cannons, and I was, but I was as a mechanic. So had no idea what I was doing. But while I was in, I learned a trade.
Right.
And when I came home, I needed work. I had a wife to support. We didn't have any children at the time. But I needed work. And I actually looked at getting into real estate. I took like a Watson weekend seminar back in 2003, like shortly after I got out, because I was, toying around with the idea of getting into real estate then. I just never did.
Was it the same type of bug that she was talking about being self-employed, or what was it about real estate that kind of?
I always just found it as a very interesting career. I thought it would be rewarding. I mean, you get to help people. I always had a thing for houses. Yeah, so I was doing construction too when I got out. I was working like construction work during the day, and then I was working at night as a mechanic at a little truck leasing outfit called First Lease.
Okay.
So, and when I was doing construction, it was with my stepfather at the time. So I was learning a trade and then making, earning a living using a trade I learned in the Army.
Sure.
And then we just started getting busy with life. We started having children, and I got hired on at UPS in 2004 or 5, which was a phenomenal job. I worked there up till 2 years ago.
That's what I didn't remember seeing the UPS on. So when does the real estate bug sort of get? Because I see you're it's kind of looking at your two LinkedIn's. It doesn't quite line up perfectly. But one of you enter before the other?
I did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
So I actually have a friend who is an agent for Roundtable.
Okay.
Her name is Jennifer Taylor. She worked at UPS during the peak season. And just from chatting with her, she had her license, and I had a couple other friends that had their license. And I really got into real estate because I wanted to flip houses. So it's kind of like accident. You call me the accidental broker.
So you started doing it sort of part-time.
Yeah,
you got your license,
part-time.
thinking about flipping the houses. How far are you into it before Emily gets involved?
6 months or so.
Okay, so you already are getting the bug instead of work now, because there's an initial brokerage I didn't mention that you do go to. Really not even for that long, 6 or 8 months if I saw correctly, if the dates are in there correctly. You're with that initial brokerage before you guys actually form Team Lloyd. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I got the timeline there. Okay, so tell us a little about Emily. Now, did you work with that brokerage as well? Is that
I did.
You did?
So I went through 2 brokerages, one little small outfit and then another one, and we just learned a lot really early on and knew there was a lot of things that we wanted to do differently.
Okay.
We seen a lot of things that we didn't agree with from an agent standpoint. So when we formed Team Lloyd, we wanted to really just do it differently. We wanted to make it more about the agents, not about the brokerage or the broker. Because as an agent, you're an independent contractor. I mean,
Right.
You are the business, and that's kind of like our main focus.
So I'm obviously in the loan world. Someone on here listening might be a new agent or whatever. Tell me something, and either one of you can answer this question, but since you brought it up, Brad, when a brokerage is not focused on the agents, give me an example of something they're doing in your eyes that is not really focused on their people. Right, because I truly believe any of the great companies that we have talk about, like say Chick-fil-A, right? They take care of their people, and it's their people that then take care of what's going on, which I imagine is your vision of what you were talking about. But some of these brokers are not focused on their agents. They are, whether the broker's, I don't know, use the word greedy or whatever it is. I mean, they're just not real estate agent focused and making better real estate agents. Give us an example of things that you saw that gave you that thought that they're not focused on the agent.
So it's just a different business model is all it is. This business model works for this agent or this broker, and it doesn't work for this one. And some of the stuff that we've seen just really didn't work well for us. It wasn't the culture that we want to create.
Okay.
Numbers, numbers is a big thing for agents. What's your production? How many homes have you sold? So one of the things that we didn't agree with was hiding the numbers. All the deals are in the name of the brokerage or the broker,
right,
and not the agent. The agent's the one that did the work. They're the one that should get the credit.
Right.
It's their numbers. When an agent's successful, I'm successful. And that's our mindset.
Right. Yeah, obviously. Okay, so I see what you're saying. From a culture standpoint, there are a lot of, teams that are generated. There are some complete brokerages where literally, I can't go in there and find an individual agent's what they're actually doing because it is all under that one team leader's name or brokerage's name. Emily, so you're in with this new brokerage. You got your two different people. I mean, although you've been married and I've spent most of your adult life, all of your adult life together, but you have different thoughts. I mean, what are some of the things that you were seeing? And obviously, it seemed to be a fairly quick decision because you weren't there. It wasn't like you were with that brokerage for 3 or 4 years. That the two of you guys actually just got together and said, "Hey, let's do our own thing."
It kind of just piggyback off of Brad is we knew that we could do something different, and I've always, going back to what I wanted to do, open the little boutique, just happened to be a real estate brokerage. So I've always been one to want to lead others, and so and another thing for me was let that agent be who they are, not who we are. Of course, we want to align ourselves with one another, but let them promote themselves. If they want to create a logo, let them do that, and not everything be under just us and our logo, and making everything about the brokerage. So anyone listening, I'm going to hold this off because I want to dig deeper into Team Lloyd here in the second half. Okay.
I want to carry on with you guys personally. So you guys get into real estate. You're Brad. You're still doing it part time, and you were working with UPS here. You said up to just a couple of years ago. Emily, you're full time. Correct. So let's talk about some of the initial. I want you to relate to those new agents out there, those agents that have hit a lid. They want to go further. Express to us some of the things some of the pain struggles that you were going through initially as a full-time agent. Because I truly believe a lot of agents, I won't say every one, but I would probably guess it's probably 8 or 9 out of 10, go through these periods of time where you're like, am I doing the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
I should go open that little truly retail boutique store and get out of real estate? What are some of the things you, from a relationship and bring it around to this, that you personally went through, that when you are working with a new agent today at Team Lloyd, that you already know these things and can head them off and keep an agent on path?
So, when I got into real estate, I did do it full time. So I left my career of 14 years scared to death. I just prayed and prayed and prayed, this is the right decision to make, because we were then going to be, just a family of 5 on one income. So I know a lot of agents out there are extremely worried and, are dependent on that one income, and that's totally understandable.
Mm-hmm. No, especially when you got kids. And it's one thing, it's just the two of you.
Absolutely. So it's that fear that drives or holds people back, I should say. So I honestly just took a huge leap of faith and went into real estate full force. Tried to advertise, as much as we possibly could.
Express it. So what are some of these things that you tried? Maybe some things that didn't work. And what were some of the things that worked early for you?
So it's all consistency. No matter what you do, what works for you, it's all about being consistent. Mm-hmm. So I was big on social media. I was constantly posting things, even if I was, not really busy, I'm making it look like I'm busy. Mm-hmm. So, we were doing that, and it took several months, I'd say probably 6 months before we started kind of getting in the groove of things and, people understanding that we are in real estate now and that I'm, no longer in insurance. And so anyway, I just kept up with the social media. I did mailers, all the things that.
Did it help you? Because you're from Middleburg, born and raised there. I mean, what did you do to exploit in a positive way the relationships you already had, or the fact, in fact, you grew up there. I mean, you knew a lot of people, you knew a lot of the businesses and so forth, or your parents did, etc. What are some of the things that you did to let them know you're in real estate?
I was friends with a lot of them on social media already. Already have ran a business in the insurance world, so I'm all about personal relationships. And so I, friended some of these people. I'd see them, in the stores and constantly talking to them. But they would always see me on social media and realize that now I'm in real estate. So between that and just, reaching out to people.
Tap into, if you could, a little bit there. You'd spent 12 years in insurance in Middleburg, right? I mean, were you Jacksonville area? What are some of the things those companies taught you? Because you worked for some very large firms that you were able to take over and implement directly into the real estate world, because insurance agents doing a lot of the same prospecting that we do.
It taught me a lot about business. So, how to operate a business, how to run a business, how to manage someone, because I did have an assistant, answering phones and all of that. So it taught me a lot about that. And then just relationship building, being in front of people and how to conversate. And I'm just
I've was listening to a podcast this morning, and the term relationship, obviously you've mentioned one other word, consistency. Obviously, we talk about our business being relationship. There's some people that really, I think they're in our business that don't actually understand that part. Right. When you're building, or what have you learned? Let's put it this way: 12 years in the insurance business. You've been 6 years now in real estate. It's all of that 18 years is all about building relationships. What are some of the things you do differently today because you're improving on your relationship building? Teach us something that you've learned through failing forward. And when it comes to relationships, what are things you're doing now that you weren't doing, say, 6 years ago?
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier about like notes, cards, handwriting cards to people, just to let them know, hey, thank you. When somebody sends you business, send them a thank you note. Pick up the phone, call them. Everybody's so quick to just text nowadays, which it's convenient, it's easy. But I think that sometimes we can get away from some of the things that truly matter and that people actually like, which are those handwritten notes and the simple phone calls. Just forming those relationships with people, even on social media right now, commenting on things, just, acknowledging people's lives and things that are happening in their lives, and not just
being consistent about it.
Right.
Being consistent
and
about
sincere.
it. Yeah.
I think sincerity is a big part of that too.
Absolutely.
People know if you're just doing something.
Blowing smoke.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
If you generally have a heart for people and you're doing things because you actually care and because you're interested,
they can tell.
People can tell.
Yeah.
I'm going to call Aaron Salem with Roundtable Realty. We did the training on the 21st, the Breakfast with Content. And one of the things she said that I took away from that was she actually charts and she teaches the agents at Roundtable Realty to chart the people who you are actually interacting with on social media. And if someone posted something about some, tragedy that happened, that remember to circle back with them, whether it's a week or a month later, go, oh, hey, whatever happened, with that situation, and that they remember that they are now being impacted because of that you're thinking about them.
Right.
And you remembered a post that they had done a week or 2 weeks, a month ago, whatever it was, but to actually chart, because we just talked to so many. I mean, our goal is to talk to as many people as possible, right? And to chart and note, put those last notes in it. Dog died, such and such, or whatever type of thing, whatever it was, and note that, but be going back and circling back into your notes and continuing to touch with those people consistently that are touching. And then when you do make a comment on social media, make it of substance.
Right.
Like is good, and we generally will like most of stuff just because of time. Well, when someone actually has something on, or someone that you really are trying to get influence, make a comment of substance when you make it. So, Brad, let's jump over to you. You're tell us a little bit to kind of lead us into this question. Because like you said, you're with UPS, but you're jumping in the real estate. Emily's full time. You're trying to get your real estate business going personally? What are you doing? What are some of the trials and some of the challenges that you were dealing with?
Hustling, a whole lot of hustling. Nights, weekends were, just running all over, showing houses, writing contracts. Even at UPS, I would literally take my lunch break, change clothes, go to a clothing, come back, change clothes again. I had to change clothes in my truck now, like Superman, because I only had a little bit of time, and I couldn't let UPS know what I was doing at the time.
You just wear the overalls, or you just zip down.
Exactly. Yeah, I got my nice dress clothes on. So to a part-time agent just starting out, you got to have some grit about yourself to be successful. You got to want it, for one, and two, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get where you want to be. I think that's just a big part of it, is just setting a goal for yourself, realizing where you want to be with whatever it is, whether it's real estate or whatever you want to do in life, setting a goal and just keep working towards it till you get there.
It's a lot of sacrifice, too.
It is, especially for us, with 3 young kids, and we would have our kids with us on showings and listing appointments and closings, and they went everywhere. They were wore out of showing houses on the weekend. Like, do we have to go again? I'm like, come on, get in the car, we gotta go.
When you say that, a lot of people say, well, you gotta know your why, and I think a lot of people default. Yes, the why for everyone should be providing for your family. That's a bottom line thing, but there's a lot of things, like, for instance, you could have just said, hey, I want to go to UPS and let me work overtime and whatever to make money, right? Did you guys feel there was a point there where I assume you formed Team Lloyd, you got these people following you, that real estate started to become a little addictive? You really started enjoying what you were doing.
I've enjoyed it since the beginning. That's why I got into it. It wasn't, like I said, I did it because I wanted to flip houses and just save on the commission. So me being where I'm at now, if she had never stepped in the business, I probably wouldn't be here chatting with you. I would have taken this in a totally different direction.
Right.
So a lot of where we're at, is directly because of Emily and her contribution towards our business, and but which is really great too, because we've kind of aligned ourselves towards the same thing. We're always working in the same direction.
Well, like I said, I've had quite a few couples coming in that have teams like yourself. What is it that you started to notice, or did you already kind of just have it already before even getting into real estate? But the whole point of working together, because now you're in front of people, especially other real estate agents, and you guys got to be a little bit lockstep, right? You don't want to be talking stuff about him like, I can't believe Brad did that, or man, I wouldn't show a house the way Brad does, or that's how you can't. Now you may say that to him at home, but you can't say that in front of the troops, right? No. So what is it that in your relationship? I don't know, and change is not necessarily the word that you guys kind of have adapted to, and obviously enjoy with each other. Who wants to comment? Can you comment on that, Emily? Yeah.
We actually like each other, so it's not for everyone, but we managed to make it work. We communicate well. Always have, obviously, with long distance relationships, or a relationship, and just aligning our goals. We have a lot of the same goals. We want to teach our children that you can be successful at owning your own business, but it does require all the hard work, the sacrifice, the grind.
They hate those lectures, by the way.
They do. They do. But they see it. They see it.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, we've done well working together for a long time. You know, our motto is there's no amount of success that's worth a failed marriage. So
Well, all right. So the different couples that I've met, and I'm going to ask Brad to comment on this as well. The different couples, some of them truly have clear lanes, and they stay in their lanes. You know, Sadie and the newcomer group, Sadie and Luke, they like, this is what she does, this is what he does. The Glenn team, they mesh a little bit and a lot of overlap. They just function where the other one fumbles the ball or puts the ball down, the other one picks it up. Where do you guys see yourselves? Are you in a lane that you're working on a certain part of the business and he's doing something totally different, or do you kind of overlap?
I would say there's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. I do, I have a lot of the responsibility of, for the agents. They call me majority of the time if there's anything.
Got to call mom. You always call mom first, right?
So they do. So I, recruiting, stuff like that. He'll help me, really just on the things that I need help with. Because we do own another business, and so he has a lot of that responsibility. So it does, as far as the real estate's concerned, it's a lot of me, but he does help when he can. What's
Brad's strength?
Gosh.
Sum it up for us in relation to real estate. I mean, what is his strength in their business?
He loves to talk to people. He'll talk to anyone. Not afraid of that. I'm surprisingly a little bit more on the shy side. Still I'll talk, but yeah, he's good at that. He's good at talking to people, relating with people.
So if there's someone referred you somebody, he's more likely to make that initial call. Yeah. Okay. All right, Brad. Let's jump over to you. What have you learned about your relationship? And then what is Emily's strength?
So,
in your eyes.
Yeah, in my eyes, Emily's really good at telling me what to do. And I'm good at following directions. Nah, I'm just kidding. No, Emily's strength is she's passionate about what she does. She cares about our agents, like not just on a business level, but on a personal level too. Mm-hmm. And because of that, just like you said, they got to call mom. She cares just like a mom would care for her children. That's how she looks at the agents. Like, she'll do anything for them. And that's huge because this is a people business. It's customers are people that we help. Agents are people. They're people that we help grow in their business. So when you, like I was saying earlier, when you genuinely care about somebody, they know it. Our retention is very good. We're steadily growing,
right? And
I think a lot of that is because of her character and her mindset.
Well, it's that saying from Theodore Roosevelt. It's that they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. Right. And that binds you guys together. What do you guys like to do? Just to change subjects a little bit, but to get because you're leading people. You're the face of Team Lloyd. Obviously, your name's on it. What are you guys doing? Are you podcast listeners? Are you following different individuals, whether reading their books or again listening to their podcast, or maybe watching their YouTube videos? Some people like to watch rather than listen. Hopefully they're listening too. Go to events. What do you guys do to try to stay sharp? So when you are able to come into that sales meeting, whatever, once a month, once a week, with some new nuggets or some new ideas, what do you guys like to do?
Education. We're big on education and constantly, improving your skills in our industry, and I think there's a need for that. if this is our profession, aside from just the CE classes that we have to take, go to NEFAR, sign up for the education classes. We just completed 2 designations and have a 3rd one this week to do. So, lead by example is my motto. So,
Right.
I find it necessary right now to continuously learn. This business is changing constantly.
Now that obviously it's not 2022 anymore, or 2021, I should say. It's slowed up a little bit. How important is it for agents who need to stay in the business and want to stay in the business that they really schedule, whether it's a NEFAR class or some seminar that a vendor's putting on at somebody's office or something, a lunch and learn? How important is they get hours of that a month right now, if not a week, to fill in time where instead of being off and playing on social media?
Right.
How important right now is it to sharpen your sword?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, it's essential right now. I mean, they're especially. Oh gosh, I keep
Sorry,
saying this.
there's always
Sorry.
a drawer there.
I mean, just to be in this business right now, it's changing, obviously, pretty fast. But when you're not out there, selling homes, listing appointments, stuff like that, at least taking that time to educate yourself more is what you need to be doing right now. Especially with the market shifting, to stay in this business, being a listing agent is what they tell you. You need to take listings. So I mean, go get your SRS designation and take some classes on how to do a listing presentation. I mean, there's so many.
Many people have been on. I mean, take the contract class
Right.
from multiple different people.
Right.
Just because you took it from X person, you should take it from Z and Y, because they're going to probably highlight other parts of the contract and give you a little more insight and different stories of why those areas of the contract are important.
Right.
But now's the time. Yeah, we want to come in. We want to prospect hard. We're going to have to make more dials than we did last year to get that lead. So we already know that. But don't just at the end of the day or at noontime feel like, I prospected for 3 hours today. I'm going to check out. You need to schedule yourself. Maybe listen to a good podcast or jump into a book, or like I said, go to NEFAR. What do you guys feel as leaders in the area, as far as the average agent? I really think the average agent is only taking enough classes at NEFAR that they're required to do for continuing ed. Am I accurate in making that assumption?
I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just extra work. Nobody wants to put in the extra work. Well, I can't say nobody, but by and large, agents, if we don't have to do something, we're not going to do it. I mean, but education, especially during this transitional time in real estate, is paramount to your success. I mean, that one class you take, you might learn just that one tiny little thing that can totally transform your business. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just a small, degree of shift in what you're doing to go from where you're at now to where you really want to be. And that is generally, it's through education that you learn those things, whether it's a self-improvement book you're reading or a NEFAR class.
Well, so Emily said earlier, we were talking about marketing in that subject, but you're talking about consistency. How important is it to be consistently, to use that analogy, sharpening your sword, be consistently doing something on the education piece, whether it is a NEFAR class, going to an event, because like you said, you don't know what nugget's going to fall out.
Right.
You just don't know. And consistency is one of those things, you don't know if you've got to do it for a week before you hit the gold vein, or the bubbling crude, right? What was that show? You don't know, or is it going to take a year? Or as the podcast I was listening this morning, they were talking about this. It could take you 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years. You don't know. You just don't know how long it's actually going to take. So if you're consistently going, But Brad, would you agree? How to lead into another subject that is often brought up is showing up when you are going to these education things, especially like at NEFAR, where you're with agents from all around the area, from all different brokerages, not just in your office where it's just the people you see every day, but how important it is to like get to know some of those other agents because you don't know who's going to be on the other side of that contract.
Oh, I think that's very important in our business. I mean, you want to know the people that you're working with, and you want to be able to trust them. I mean, you can always tell, if you come across an agent that has all those acronyms after their name, you know that they've poured into their profession and that they probably know quite a bit.
Right.
So chances are the transaction you would hope would go smoother. Mm-hmm. But outside of, not knowing that agent, you don't really know. I mean, it's a crapshoot. It really is. But if you've met that agent at, a training event or a social event, you've got to know them a little bit, and then you come across them on a deal and you get to work with them and they're stellar, just like they were when you met them at the event. Right. Now you've formed a solid business relationship. And back to relationships. It's 100% relationship business.
100% the relation, and I think this is a part that's again, the same agents that are only going to the CE classes that they need to get the whatever amount of hours it is that you guys need to renew your license. They're also going, why should I go there? Or, why should I go to that extra class? Or why should I go to that ethics class? There's going to be just like so many people there. It's so important to do, as we've learned in the last 24 months, would you agree, with multiple offer deals? How many times did you guys get involved in a multiple offer deal, and because you knew the agent on the other side, you at least could have open conversation, and you were on the ball field at least, right? I mean, the importance of being able to call, because we all have call reluctancy. We all are, I think, for the most part, sort of shy when reaching out to someone we don't know. But if you were in a situational meetup, like at a social, or you were at a class and you heard them ask a question, and you go, "Oh, that's Sally Smith. I've seen her stuff before. Seen her on social media. I've done a deal with her before. Let me go over and introduce myself." Now you're starting to build a relationship because you've actually physically seen each other. And now when they're on the other end of that deal, or you have multiple offers, "Hey, Sally, hey, it was good to see you. I haven't seen you since the class." And you start, it's a lot just flows. And again, back to building the relationships. Yep. And it's business. And I think all of us learned, especially obviously the agents, most of you guys have learned, in those multiple offer deals, you just hope that the other person is someone that or someone that actually is, wanting to build a relationship, because I think there's some agents out there, from what I heard, were kind of nasty. They were kind of like, they knew they were going to get 20 offers, and when they got 20 offers, they got mad. Which totally blows my mind from that standpoint. Okay, let's dig in for this last half. Let's dig into Team Lloyd, and who wants to touch on the vision of Team Lloyd? Who wants to lead us off with that? I know Brad. Who's going to go? Emily?
He'll go.
Brad's going to go. Brad's been talking about a little bit about caring for the agents, but Brad, really dig in. Like, I mean, as someone, we put you up in the front of the room of these, say we got 50 people taking the test. They're not even committed to any brokerage yet. Why? What is it about Team Lloyd and your chemistry, your culture, ideology that you guys have created over the last few years of why they, not everyone's going to bond with you, but those people in the room who think the same way should, get to you. Tell us a little about.
It's more than just a career to us, and we try to really foster like a family type environment where we generally care for our people. That and training. We're big on education. So, we try to give our agents all the tools and training and education and support that they need to where they can grow their business wherever they want to take it to, which is a lot of people can say that, and a lot of people can say they offer all these things, and you get there and it's not really what you expected, and they overpromise and underdeliver. We try to under promise and over deliver.
Would you say the fact that you are, more, sorry, I guess if you guys agree or disagree, more the boutique brokerage?
I would call us boutique.
Yeah, because you're not like Keller Williams. You got
No.
hundreds of agents coming in an office, and you don't even know, some of these offices, they've got 60, 70 people signed up, but you really only see about a dozen of them at any given time that are in the office. And the latter 30 you never see from that standpoint. When you say education and carrying the family part of it, Emily, lead off of some of the stuff Brad said. Tell us, can you guys give us a story, give us some example of that someone can actually touch, feel, and smell when you explain it to them. About leading off of what Brad said, the family carrying the education, about maybe one of your agents. You don't have to mention names.
I mean,
a success story. Let's call it that.
A success story of one of the agents of us.
For you guys as a team, it's something.
Let's see. Gosh, just for me, I'm always available. Probably a little too much. Where it does kind of interrupt some of our family time. But I think that's another reason why some of our agents are successful is because I will help them. Pretty much 24/7. I mean, and just not only just in business, but I mean, we've developed friendships that, some of my agents are great friends of mine. They truly are. And, just to be able to see them be successful, by helping guide them, in a direction that they want to take, and to see, make them be accountable, for certain things. But, watching them grow and knowing that, I have had, a small part in that. I definitely do not take any kind of credit for any of their success. But, you've got to have a leader of some sort. And, I'm privileged to be able to have that and be, their leader. So, and like I said, developing those relationships outside of the brokerage, either just going, to a kid's birthday party. We know probably all of our agents' kids' names and their spouses' names, and so we can develop that friendship outside, which is important to them. They don't want to feel like they're just a number or. All
right, let's just be. Let me be more direct with this question.
Okay.
Here. We've got an agent out there, Miss Hypothetical. She's working for brokerages, hit a lid, right? To just not growing. Because I think, bottom line, most people move from a brokerage to somewhere else because, just as most people change jobs, is because they're no longer getting value from their leadership. The broker there is no longer, whether they just have sputtered out and they're not growing themselves, so they can't grow their team, but they reached a lid. They're looking at brokerages. You guys are at a social, you run into each other, and you want to, what are some of the questions that you're going to ask that person? Because I think, and you guys agree or disagree with me, please comment on this. Some people just don't know what it is they're missing, right? That's part of leadership, is part of finding what that person's missing, right? Why are they not growing? I want to grow you, but you're not growing. Why are you not growing? And of course, there's some people who don't want to grow, but for that person who wants to grow and will do pretty much whatever you tell them to do, you got to find what that thing is, right? That's what a leader's supposed to do. So if you ran into the Miss Hypothetical here at a social, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm at X brokerage. I'm thinking about moving around." What are some of the things? Because you got to find out whether they're a fit for Team Lloyd, right? You're not just signing people up. I think a lot of the brokerages have found that out, at least the smaller brokerages, is you don't want to bring in poison. You don't have enough people for the poison to kind of, you poison the small bucket of apples, right? It's going to go pretty quickly. What are some of the things that you'll ask that agent who might be considered over to see if, A, you're a fit, but to see what what is it their true need is? Who wants to answer that one?
I'll answer
Brad?
that one.
Okay.
Well, one of the main things we're going to want to look at is the numbers. I mean, what is your numbers telling you about your business? Do you know what your profit and loss says about your business? Are you profitable in business? How much money are you spending on marketing? Like, there's all these aspects that you can ask an agent about their business, and a lot of them they don't really know because they've never tracked it. They've never
Sat down with their broker and
sat down with their broker and done a profit and loss or a productivity wheel to see, what their production is, or to find out what their strengths and weaknesses are, so you can plug those holes. There's a whole system that we have implemented at Team Lloyd where we're doing just that. We do one-on-one business consultations with our agents. We set up profit and loss statements with them so they can see and have eyes on their business to know where their money's going, where their money's coming from, as far as, listing side, selling, buyer side.
Give us an example, Brad. Again, don't have to mention names. Someone who you've evaluated and like the red flag just flew up, like that's the problem right there.
Yeah,
or
so
you need to be doing more of that.
Yeah, so I just had a consultation a couple weeks ago with one of my guy agents. It's only two of them. Three now. So we're estrogen rich at Team Lloyd.
I noticed that
testosterone out there.
In the videos, there's all these women. I was like, who's doing the hiring here?
Yeah.
Who's doing the recruiting? Okay.
A friend of ours calls it my girl gang. Brad and his girl gang. Had a sit down consultation with one of my male agents, and when we were done, he's like, he had a clear picture of what he needed to do. And once
he saw it himself.
He saw it himself, and that's part of the thing too, is self-realization. Like,
right.
I can sit there and tell you, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that, and it'll go in this year and pick up speed coming out of that one. But when you realize it for yourself and you're seeing it, and then you
with
come to that
factual
conclusion,
Right.
Yeah.
you're like, okay. And then now that you realize that, now I can hold you accountable to it. Hey.
Right.
Are you doing the things that we talked about
Right.
doing? Are you making the calls?
Right.
And if you want to be successful and you know that's what you got to do, it's not an uncomfortable conversation, because I'm holding you accountable to something that you need to do, you want to do to be successful.
The importance, there's a lot of times where you can, if you want to call it coaching, and not only, because what you were doing was coaching. You were coaching him through that, the profit and loss, or however you were doing it, to lead him to a self-realization, as you just mentioned. Where if I just said, well, Emily, you're not getting enough listings. Well, you need to prospect more. Well, what the hell does that mean?
Right.
What does that look like?
Yeah, what does it look like?
Yeah.
How many hours? How are you prospecting, right? And how important? So, Emily, how important is it to find out what someone? Because prospecting is obviously a major part of our business. If you can't prospect, you don't have a deal. Forget about learning about the contract and what you do after that. You got to get that person and start showing them homes or getting that listing appointment. How important is it to dig in and find out what part of prospecting, or what type of prospecting, if you want to call it that, how important it is to find out what that is as quickly as possible if you want to have quick success?
Oh yeah, that's something we do at the beginning when we're, when we take on an agent. We sit down and kind of do, an assessment like what Brad was saying. But everybody learns in prospects differently. So we have a few agents that are not on social media. They just don't care to be on there and active. And then there's some that are and that are doing well, but for the ones that aren't, you kind of have to handle those a little differently and sit down and show them, okay, well, what are some of the other options that we can do to help you, with your prospecting.
It's about finding their strengths,
Right.
what works for them, what really clicks for them in their business, and then have them work those areas,
Right.
what
Right.
they feel is going to work for them. Because a tool is only useful if you're going to use it.
Right.
I can tell you to prospect all day long, but if hitting a dialer
It's not
for
your thing.
4 or 5 hours a day, if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. It's your business. How do you want to grow your business? If that works for you, work it. If it doesn't, find
10X
something
it.
that does.
Yeah. There was the Glenn team was on here last week and talking about this one gentleman at Momentum Realty that just, he loves doing YouTube videos, and however good he is, he gets leads from it, and he just hands those leads out because he actually doesn't really want to do the stereotypical, showing houses and stuff. I'm like, okay, come a lead generator.
Right.
If that's what you're really good at, all the power to you. If you get 10x and make the living that you want to. Team Lloyd right now, are you always in a recruiting mode? Do you actually are searching out, or you just keep your eyes open, look for good people to have chats with, or if someone comes to you that you'll sit down? Where are you at in recruiting?
So we have, in the past, grown organically. Actually, really up until now, we started recruiting a little bit more. Our agents do a lot of the recruiting. So they're, constantly, recommending people. So we still kind of tend to organically grow, more so than us directly reaching out to agents, trying to recruit. But we've started to implement some processes now where we are going to be doing some of that. We don't want to grow at a rapid pace. It's never been our thing. We want quality agents, not quantity. So, we like to kind of sit down with, certain people and kind of see, what their culture is and their business models. And if they align, great. We might.
Emily, what questions should they be asking you as the broker? If I'm whether I'm a new agent or an experienced agent looking to move, what questions should they ask you?
Gosh, what questions should they ask me? There's a lot of questions.
If you were looking to move brokerages,
because they're more so interviewing us than we are interviewing them too.
Yeah. So obviously, from a bias standpoint, you want to be able to brag about Team Lloyd, right? So if you were talking with Emily and Brad about coming to Team Lloyd, what's a question you would love for them to ask you?
Broker support. What does broker support look like? And
what does it look like?
Tell
me what does that look like?
For me, obviously you would have two brokers,
right?
That you can contact. So for me, it's the time that I'm willing to take to sit down with them individually. With going over like the agent wheel and what their strengths and weaknesses are, where we can improve this. Sitting down to do a business plan. Showing them we have a huge database of training. So, picking out certain things that, are going to help them with whatever areas that they're maybe, lacking at their other brokerage. So, just making myself available to them as much as I possibly can, which I feel like I do a pretty good job of. And then, taking that time and just investing in their needs and what they're lacking.
All right, Brad, I'm going to jump over you. Same question. What should someone be asking you and Emily if they're sitting in front of you and you guys are talking about possibly coming over to Team Lloyd?
Really, what value do you provide me as a broker versus where I'm at now? What can I offer to help you grow your business over what another brokerage can offer you? I think that's huge because we're in business to provide a living for our families, to grow our income, to grow our business. Everybody wants to have that growth, and you want to align yourselves with people that can help take you in the direction that you want to go.
Right.
So I think that would be a huge thing for me. I'd want to have peace of mind knowing that, hey, I'm fixing to change brokerages. It's going to create a little bit of a ripple in my business. And once the dust settles, what are you going to be able to do to help me grow my business?
Right. Do you find I think one of the things that comes to mind when just listening to both of you guys talk, and it's not the first time I've asked that question because I think it's so important that these agents are really interviewing the brokers. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of brokers out there, and all of you are doing something slightly different, and then you all have different experiences. What's important at Team Lloyd? Because what you guys see is important in the business for an agent growth versus any other brokerage is going to be different. It could be greatly different, but aligning yourself. If you hated cold calling, and I sat in front of a brokerage and they said, well, we're going to provide you all these leads you can call, that's not the brokerage I want to go to because I don't like cold calling.
Right.
You know, and you need to get down to the business. And I think obviously, basically, you guys are not only real estate, business coaches, you're life coaches as well. I mean, you guys have been married for 20 years. You've grown up in the area. You have a lot of experiences that just fill in the whole circle that an agent coming to Team Lloyd, you have this family atmosphere. It's run like a family. You have two people that care about you personally, which sometimes, and I know because we oftentimes do that to a fault.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we have to let go.
I know.
But to align yourself with like-minded people. So if you have a like-minded thing and you want to be coached, you want someone that is going to sit down, or when you walk in, actually when they ask you how your business is, they actually want an actual full answer, not like, oh, good, bad, different, a little slow this week. Yeah. No, they actually, hey, I'm working on this. I've got this customer I'm trying to tip over. I mean, I'm chasing a customer down right now, and it is the time where I've got the referral last week, and I've called, left voice message. She finally answered with text, said she was going to fill out the app. I opened myself, say, hey, I'll call you. We can do it over the phone if you want to. And I'm still chasing her today, 4 or 5 days later, and we still don't have that. And that's the type of, well, how can I turn that person, right? Yeah. What suggestion? Is there another way I can approach this? And that's where you guys come in. And that's what the agents should be wanting, but they have to have that like-minded. If you don't want to be disturbed by your brokerage, if you don't want any interaction, you know it all, then obviously Team Lloyd's probably not your cup of tea. Because you guys are going to get involved and obviously look to help people through. Brad, I want you to touch on a little bit because I think, did you say with your dad you were doing some construction, if I recall? And then you actually got your contractor's license with Solid Rock Custom Homes in 2020. Tip a little bit on that and how you integrate that into your overall real estate.
So overall in real estate, I mean, construction, whether it's building a home from the ground up or it's just making repairs, I mean, it's hand in hand because every real estate transaction involves a piece of property, like a house, a home, a condo, a townhome.
Well, would you agree renovations right now are going to be on the high because a lot of people got equity, and the cost of a new home per square foot is crazy.
So it really does go hand in hand, which is phenomenal. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I originally got my real estate license because I wanted to flip houses. And 6 years in, I finally flipped my first house.
All right, there you go.
With another real estate couple. And it was a fantastic experience. I loved it. So now we're still kind of on the hunt for another one.
Now, do you have a regular crew? I mean, you've been around the business because I think one of the missing pieces that everyone has when it comes to, flipping a house is having that crew. Unless you're doing it yourself, but having that crew that you can rely on, they're going to show up and have that house, whatever renovation it's going to need, and then ready to flip it in whatever projected period of time that you have, right? And where some people want to flip houses, we're like, well, who am I going to hire? Who can I trust to actually go in and do the work and do it,
So
quality.
I'm the business owner, the laborer, the superintendent, the project manager. I wear all the hats.
Okay.
Yeah. So with the flip, we did all the work ourselves on that first one. I mean, I can do it all. It goes much faster when I'm not doing it all because I have so many hats to wear. And those times when, like Emily was saying, I'm kind of hands off in the real estate business, it's because I'm so hands on the Solid Rock side of things. But yeah, I'm a small custom home builder.
Tell me a little bit about what you guys see, because you're from Middleburg, grew up there, and to me when they build that expressway, finish that expressway, which I was over in Green Cove this past weekend, and I noticed they've turned the dirt a little bit more. When they complete the expressway over and connect over here to 95, so you have that whole extra loop. There are some like Stark and so forth that are now not so far away. And there's a lot of older homes out there that you can buy very inexpensively. and now, and be able to, a nice cinder block home where you go in and probably renovate it fairly reasonably, and now that home is going to be worth twice as much as it is today, just in the next, I don't know, 5-10 years easily.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think that's a huge untapped market out there. That and the lake revitalization project out there for the Keystone Lakes. That's going to be another huge thing when that finally the dust settles on that one, because if they revitalize those lakes out there, I mean, those property values are going to skyrocket. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, that was the place to go in Jacksonville. Was everybody had a weekend lake house out in Keystone and go down there skiing and all the water sports and stuff, because there's so many lakes, so much waterfront.
Well, I mean, one of the challenges, I'm on the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee for St. Johns County, and there's no affordable housing. Now, there is land, like if you go out to Hastings, and we're seeing, I was joking with one of my other loan officers this morning, because it's closing this afternoon down in Palatka, manufactured home on 23 acres. And there's all that kind of property is out there that now is going to be a reasonable driving distance when that expressway goes in, and it's going to change. And hopefully, some of the people who are thirsting, there is a huge thirst for affordable housing. I mean, we just especially St. Johns County just doesn't have it. But you start going over to Clay and in the Palatka area, it's. I think it's just going to be an untapped market for probably the next 20 years. For it, as far as housing growth and being able to get a reasonably priced home from that standpoint. All right, we talked about education. We talked about consistency. We didn't directly talk about this, but some of it's there because I think it's some when you're going to NEFAR and things like that. But how important is, and I know you guys are part of the Jack's Real Producers, and you guys go to those events. But how important is it for the regular agent, whether they own a brokerage or not, is not necessary, to show up. Whether it is to show up for the sales meetings at their brokerage, to go to the regular trainings or events where there's going to be other agents there, and actually interact with other people in their industry to raise the level. How important is showing up?
I think it's absolutely important. One of the greatest benefits about being in real estate is you get to make your own schedule. But it's also one of the biggest pitfalls, because it's a trap. And if you don't keep yourself plugged in the business, doing the things that you need to do as a business owner, you're not going to be getting the business. I mean, that's just kind of the sad part about it. So it's definitely a catch-22, being in real estate. But showing up, getting plugged in, networking, collaborating with people, even people outside of your brokerage. We have several very good friends that are, with other brokerages that we hang out with on a regular basis.
I mean, just if you think about, there's some agents, I was again watching someone else's Facebook video this morning and talking about how they, we kind of like to, ideally, if you could focus on a certain subdivisions or certain area, or if it's Middleburg or Orange Park or just that whole greater area of Clay County, if you're focusing in, you're going to run into the other top agents on a very regular basis. And whether it's a listing appointment you might be competing against, or they're on the other side of the contract. I always feel that if you don't I'm not saying break bread with it, if you don't meet somebody, they can talk a lot of trash about you, right? Now, we talk about, you don't want to talk bad about other people, but you're going to a listing appointment and you're competing against an agent you don't know. That other agent can say, well, Emily, she's short and she's only, she's been married for 20 years. She's not the agent for you. She could talk stuff like that, but if she knows you, she can't do that, or he can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point on that.
They won't. If you know somebody and actually shook their hands and talked to them or had coffee with them or whatever it is, you use the term collaboration. Big word that's been used. You guys are the 103rd episode. 95 plus agents. The top agents will tell you they're not competitors; they're collaborators. And the realization is you're not going to get every listing appointment because people's emotions and biases or what friend referred you is all important in that decision people make, for whatever reason. But if you're collaborating with the other top people in the area, the only thing I can say is, Brad and Emily, they're great people. I mean, maybe I just leave it at that, right? But I can't say, oh yeah, those two, they're a mess. I can't say that and say it with a straight face. You know what I'm saying? That's my personal belief. And the importance of showing up and getting out there. Plus, obviously the availability, would you agree, like over the last, getting multiple offers or getting a listing. I had one of the top agents say to me, she got a listing, she's on this side of town, but a friend of hers referred her to a listing over in, like it was out in Ponte Vedra Beach or something, and in a neighborhood she's never, scoped out the home or
familiar with the area,
evaluated the home, what the price it at, what's been going on, and to be able to call an agent she knew that works out there all the time and say, hey, we're friends. I got a one-off. I'm over in your area. How what's been going on here? How should we price this home?
Oh yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah. And it's a lot better when you know each other. Call someone out of the blue like, Emily with Team Lloyd. Yeah, I don't know her. Whatever. I can say whatever I want, right? But they're going to be honest with you. I think most people in our business want to collaborate, but you just got to go out and show up.
Oh, yeah. And if you don't know the other agent, it's easy to be confrontational when you're on the other side of the table.
Yeah, or short with them, leave things out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Feel like you're not going to do your best, or I can kind of get away with just doing the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know them and you respect them in the profession, you're going to show up and show out, and you're going to do the best you can. I mean, that's how I look at it anyway.
All right. Then that leads us into the last, which kind of bleeds into it, surrounding yourself with. I love going to the Jack's Real Producer events myself because everyone in that room, no matter who you talk to, is doing business. Right. A lot of times you go to, it could be at NEFAR or, if we're doing a lunch and learn, there's agents in there that they're not really actually doing the business. They're showing up. They want to tell their spouse that they showed up to a training, but they're not actually doing it. At that Jack's Real Producers event, you're surrounding yourself, different levels. Some people are very high level, but everyone in there is a top, easily, obviously top 500, if not top 100 real estate agent in the region.
Right.
Yeah. How important is it to interact or to go off your word, collaborate?
Oh my gosh. Bailey Jordan, for instance, one of my very good friends, we did a transaction together years ago. And with
did cartwheels coming out of the
yes, we
closet.
did. It was legit. It was a very difficult transaction, and we just became the best of friends. And she's one of the people that I will call. Obviously, they're at Real Producers all the time, but I'll call and ask her, bounce things off of her brain, and she'll do the same with me. So there's a couple of people that I could call right now and just collaborate with, go have coffee with, talk about maybe some struggles that I'm having or struggles that she's having. But just by developing those relationships with those people, there's always something to learn in this business, and you're never going to know it all. And something that she, her strengths are, might inspire me in other aspects
100%,
of my business.
100%. I mean, well said. There's every one of the top agents that I talk to, obviously including yourselves, are willing to pour into others. They're willing to collaborate. They want to share their war stories, so to speak. There's some great leaders, like you guys are trying to grow your team a certain way. There's some people that are at a different stage in their career. They're 5 or 6 years ahead of you as far as working in trials and errors and failing forward and building a solid team that are out there that will pour into you. If you, hey, can I get a cup of coffee with you? They're actually flattered. I mean, who wouldn't be? Hey, you're a great agent. You have a great team. You've been doing this for 15 years, and I just want to can we meet for coffee or lunch and pick your brain a little bit about challenges? They are out there to pour into you. So, and I just, that's a wonderful thing that I hear from a lot of the agents. It's actually very inspirational that they are out there. We listen to a lot of, the Grant Cardones and, these motivational stuff that we see on YouTube, and we think those people are untouchable, but they're really not. They actually do want to pour into you. And if you approach them the right way, and sometimes they get a little high, so you got to come at them and get to know somebody to get there. But here locally, hey, I'm with Team Lloyd. I want to chat with you. We know enough of each other that even though they may never meet with you, they'll sit down and pour into you. All right. 30 seconds on this answer. I'm going to go, we'll go to Brad first. Brad, in your real estate career, what's been a misstep? I use the term biggest mistake and people think real drastic, but just as what's something that you like, we didn't really do that really well then, but we do a lot better now. What are some of the maybe some mistakes you did earlier that you would do just totally different, and definitely recommend if you were coaching someone not to do? In real estate,
just stepping out from a broker or a brokerage standpoint, when we just opened up, not having the tools and resources to know what I needed to do as a broker to grow my brokerage. I looked and looked and looked, and there was nothing out there at the time, and now there is. There's a coaching and training platform that we utilize now that is phenomenal. I mean, it's hands down top notch. And had we had that, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we'd be that much further ahead in our business.
That is an awesome tip, and there is no doubt anyone who has started their own business has spent so much money
in the dark.
Yeah. And I will say this, from being on this side of the fence of real estate and having talked to many great people. Make a couple phone calls to some people and say, hey, I'm looking to get into business, or I'm looking to open my own brokerage. I've been an agent for so long. I can't talk to the broker I work for because, emotions and egos get involved. But to reach out to some of these top people that are doing it, trust me, they will pour into you. And we've all done what Brad's talking about, obviously. Yeah. And you failed forward and you're still working through it, but you probably could have knocked that curve down a little quicker or saved some money, definitely. Right? From that side. Emily, what would you say there? Something you would do differently, or just, Brad's point was awesome. But.
So from an agent perspective, when I first got into real estate, I thought I had to take every deal. I was scared to death, to lose out on something. So I would... I'd let my family suffer a little bit, or our children, I should say, just because I feel like I had to jump and I had to hurry up and get there. And I didn't set a schedule like I should have and made time, time blocking. We just started doing that now, 6 years later, 7 years later. And it's working. And, it's so important because you can fill your schedule up with just, social media, things that aren't making you money. Right. So by sitting down, this is what one of our coach suggested that we do, on a Sunday, sit down, make your schedule, time block, and stick to it. And, make those times for your family, make the time for yourself, because you'll get burnt out real quick in this industry.
So all these agents that get into it because they think they're, obviously they can make their own schedule. Brad kind of made it for, but that can be a bad thing too. Time blocking. If you time block for your family, if you need to be done at 3:30 because your kids are coming home on the bus, then you need to get certain things done before 3:00. Yep. And time blocking. You said one thing, and I'm going to spin off of this. You got a coach. How has that changed your business?
Tremendously. We just recently, Katrina is her name, Abdullah, and she's been a godsend to us. We tell her that every time we talk every Wednesday.
How long have you been working with her?
September.
Yeah, probably September.
August, September.
Late August, September.
So coming up on a year?
No,
No,
no, just
Or
a couple months.
just for
Just
oh,
the last few
Yeah.
months,
so just in the last 60 days, you're already seeing a difference.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Just like time blocking obviously seems to be one of those things she gave you. Was like something that she saw you guys doing that, or, kind of suggested maybe you do something a little differently besides time blocking, obviously.
Probably our trainings. We've kind of shifted the way that we have, conducted the trainings. She's helped out with that, and
To be more impactful,
Right,
or
more-
to get more attendance there. What was your
attendance, which is really providing more value to the agents.
Right.
What we're bringing to them will bring the attendance. So, we've got a platform and some different training things, and we go over these things weekly with her. And she, gives us some suggestions and things that we need to do. And so far it's been tremendously.
I mean, you hit it on you really brought everything, our whole conversation around, because you used a word that I think is so important. And, if we talk about Team Lloyd, what value are you adding? You guys are constantly, your stress, what you do is, what value am I adding to my agents? If you're just a real estate agent, what value are you adding to your customers, right? It's always about what value you're giving them. And she brought it around for you in the training part where you said to make sure we're giving that added value. You use that term, and it's so important. And here in 60 days, she's already got you on a slightly different trajectory that you guys are excited about.
Yes.
Yeah. Brad, would you add anything to that, or what, from the coaching standpoint?
Yeah, from the coaching standpoint, it's been phenomenal. Like I was saying, all the things that I didn't know when we first started out, now I'm learning. Had I learned them 5 years ago, we'd be in a totally different place than we are now.
Right.
And that goes back to collaboration. Just like you said, I mean, when you're collaborating with other professionals in the business, you pick up these little pieces of information, which are phenomenal. And from a broker standpoint, when I get to pass that information along to my agents, and then I see it work in their business, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Like he said to do this, I did it, and now I got this deal, or I closed this transaction, or I've solved this problem by doing that. It's like, all right, that's where it's at. Right
You
there.
added value.
I added value, and it's rewarding for me as the broker to just be a part of it. So.
Yep. Adding value. Can we name this podcast Adding Value? Team
Sure.
Lloyd?
Sure.
Adding Value.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'm going to finish up. I call these my 2-minute warning questions. What is the Lloyd family's favorite thing to do in Northeast Florida? As I believe we sell lifestyle here. What is it that you guys like to do?
Boating.
Yeah,
You're boaters.
voting.
Yes.
Where do you guys go on
Doctor's
St.
Lake.
John's front? You go out Doctor's Lake a lot.
Yeah, we live in the area, so we
Yeah.
just put right out.
All right, I'm going to play this question's answer to my wife, okay? 'Cause we belong to the Freedom Boat Club. We go out of Julian Creek all the time.
Okay.
I'm going to play this for my mother-in-law as well. How often have you ever seen an alligator while you're I assume you guys go tubing
Yeah.
with the kids or whatever, while tubing with the kids in the middle of Doctor's Lake?
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Have you ever heard of someone being attacked by an alligator?
I try to tell my
Our
kids
kids.
the same thing.
Yes.
Nope.
Oh, they are. My mother-in-law is. She ever listens to my show? I mean, Black Creek, forget it.
Yeah,
they're not.
that's our kids.
Yeah, they don't even. I brought them up into Black Creek actually about a month or so ago, and we did run across some manatees in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But it is hard to find the alligators. You want to see them when you're in the boat.
You got to go out
You
at
wanna
night
go
with a
find 'em.
flashlight
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just go
Yeah.
shining for them.
I guess they believe their feeling is they believe they're sitting at the bottom in the mud.
Right.
In the daytime, and you're tubing above them, and they're just going to come off the bottom and
Yeah.
come get you. I'm like, they hear that engine, bro. They know what that means. That means there's somebody might be coming to get them,
Right.
and they're way back in there. All right, so boating. Do you guys go to what's it, Pineapple Point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to catch you out there.
Yeah.
Then I'll have to touch base with you. My wife wasn't really impressed by the little pluff mud that's there.
Oh yeah, it's kind
Yeah, because we had been going down to what's the other one south of the Shands?
oh, where Butter Skip Day is.
Yeah, it's a
Bayard
Bayard
Bayard,
Point,
yeah.
Bayard Point,
Yeah.
and it is more of a sandy bottom there. So when I took her over to
Just wear
Pineapple,
shoes.
yeah, that's what everyone said. Just wear your shoes.
Yeah.
All right, final question, Emily. More important, who you know or what you know?
Gosh, I would say probably what you know.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, wrapping around back to the whole education thing.
Okay, all right, Brad.
That's a
I think he's got a different answer.
that's
Probably.
50-50.
Which
would
one's
say-
51%? Someone's got to be 51% there. What would you?
He's
Yeah.
gonna be the opposite.
It's the opposite. I'd say it's all about who you know. The
Well, I
people
think-
that you surround yourself with in your life can totally change the trajectory of your life.
That's very true.
And just what one of our last questions, you were talking about the coaching, and obviously sounded like someone you guys talked to was say, hey, you guys ought to hire a coach, or maybe we'll refer this particular coach or whatever. And just by knowing them, they led you in that way. And then knowing the coach now has poured education into you, then making that connection. I'm a who you know.
Are you?
I mean,
Who you know
not that
changes
you
what
can
you
be
know.
incompetent, but you have to know. I mean, you have to know something, but you have to know enough to say, hey, you know what, that person's really good, and I admire them. I need to go over and find out what they're doing.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Guys, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything you want to say lastly that maybe we didn't cover that I missed about Team Lloyd that everyone should know?
We rock.
Okay.
No, I appreciate it.
I
your
appreciate you
Okay.
coming on. I look forward to the. Well, I know that your fan club out there will hit it today because it's live on Facebook when we cut the reels, because I think we got some really great comments out of both of you that we can really highlight in your social media. So
Thank you.
appreciate you.